The Monroe, Michigan monster. The small town of Monroe, Michigan, had multiple reports on August 13, 1965, of a giant hairy creature attacking the residents of the town. In one story, 17-year-old Christine Van Acker was driving with her mother Ruth Owens down a dirt road called Mental Road, just north of Monroe, Michigan around midnight. As they rounded a curve, a large hairy creature appears from the thicket on the side of the road, which caused Christine to brake hard and stalled the engine of their vehicle. For the next horrifying moments, the daughter and mother screamed with no help in sight. The bipedal animal reaches into the window and grabs a hold of the girl's hair, and in doing so, slams her head into the doorpost, knocking Christine unconscious, and then flees. Mrs. Owens stated she escaped from the car and that her screams attracted the attention of a nearby house. When the neighbor and Mrs. Owens returned, Christine was bruised but otherwise okay. Later, Christine told the story to the local papers, and described the creature as 7 feet tall, and weighing about 400 pounds, with long coarse black hair covering its entire body. During a couple of months that followed this incident, there had been over 15 sightings, in the same area, and numerous newspaper articles written about the monster of Monroe, Michigan. Thousands of curiosity seekers swarmed over Mental Road in Frenchtown Township last night, trying to catch a glimpse of a hairy monster, who allegedly stalks the area and terrorizes motorists. The monster, described as 7 feet tall, 5 feet wide, and weighing about 500 pounds, has been sighted about 15 times in the last 2 months by members of the same family. All have given substantially the same description to state police of the Flat Rock Post, adding that the monster grunts like a mad dog. Corporal David Swanson said that last night, there was more traffic on Mental Road than on the Detroit-Toledo Expressway. However, all persons in the area were not curiosity seekers. Corporal Swanson said that residents of the area have armed themselves, and many of them appear trigger-happy. A man called last night and requested permission to hunt the monster with a high-powered rifle, Corporal Swanson said. The caller was told he would be arrested on sight if he appeared. Reports of contact with the apparent mutation, that allegedly rises out of the swamps of Laguna Beach, have been kept quiet by suspicious state troopers, until 2 terrifying contacts were made last week. David Thomas, a Fix Road resident and cousin of Mrs. Owens, said that he and 8 of his relatives were driving along Mental Road last Wednesday, when the monster appeared and struck the side of his car. Mr. Thomas said he got out and took a swing at the beast but missed. He said it tried to get on the roof of his vehicle but jumped off as he gathered speed. Corporal Claire Deschaux, of the Erie Post, who admitted that efforts to keep the report secret have backfired, expressed fear that the biggest danger is that someone will get shot. Toledo Blade, Ohio, Tuesday, 2nd News Section, August 17, 1965, page 18. Mrs. George Owens says she and her daughter will take a lie detector test Monday, to prove to state police that their car was attacked by the hairy monster of Mental Road. Some persons have expressed disbelief in such a beast as the one Mrs. Owens reported encroached upon the auto the night of August 13. But 2 strands of coarse hair, found on the car bumper, will be presented to state police at the Redford Post to substantiate her claim, Mrs. Owens said. The hair has roots 1.5 inches long. With a skull line 1.5 inches deep, he must be some monster, her husband said. Owens said he found hairs caught on chrome strips of the car, owned by David Thomas, 23, who is Mrs. Owens's cousin. Thomas told of swinging at the thing when it attacked his car, in which 8 persons were riding. I know what we saw is real and I don't like people thinking it's a hoax, Mrs. Owens said. That's why we agreed to the lie test. Mrs. Owens said she and her daughter, Christine Van Acker, 17, will take the polygraph test. She said everyone who has seen the monster is willing to take the test. We'll pack their police headquarters wall to wall with people. State Police Detective Patrick Lyons of the Flat Rock Post said, "This thing has gone so far that we want to prove once and for all, that there is no monster or discover what it is that's out there. Monroe County Sheriff's men have refused to investigate reports of the monster further, but have patrolled Mental Road to control crowds of monster hunters who have gathered nightly. The swampy area of the mysterious reported hairy thing is 5 miles north of Monroe. The Owasso Argus, Michigan, Friday, August 20, 1965, page 8. September 1980. Hunter encounters a large 7-foot reddish-brown Bigfoot animal standing upright in southern Monroe County. October 1983. Boys in the woods saw a large Bigfoot animal, covered in hair across a pond and shot at it with a BB gun. It screams, stood up on 2 legs, swinging its arms around looking in all directions in the Dundee area. July 1993. The driver and passenger smelled thick odors, and saw a 7 to 8 foot reddish-brown Bigfoot on the side of the road. They blow their horn and it stands upright, and crosses the road in front of the vehicle, near the northwestern Monroe County area. October 2001. In the general vicinity bounded by M50 and River Raisin, several adults encountered an ape-like creature, 7 to 8 feet tall in the bed of a pickup, rummaging through a cooler. It stood up and jumped out when startled, and howled before fleeing, leaving the group in shock. September 2009. Within 5 miles of the 1965 sighting, a passing motorist spotted what he thought was a bear or large black furry dog, picking through roadside trash. The driver says his headlights caught the animal up ahead, and as the car approached, it raised up on 2 legs, giving him a good look at an animal that was neither a bear nor dog, but more like an ape-man. My brother was driving home in the approximate area of Monroe, Michigan, passing sporadic farmhouses and other homes, and it was pretty dark. The area is semi-rural, and the lighting is poor in some areas. He said it was approximately 11 to 11:30 p.m., the night before trash pickup, and many folks had their cans out front of their properties on this particular night. My brother, who says he's never spoken about this to his family, and only to a close personal friend, said as he approached a curve, observed what he thought was a bear or a very large black dog on all fours in the distance. From the lights of headlamps, he said the big black dog appeared to be rooting in the trash, and paused only as it caught a glimpse of his approaching headlights. Rounding the curve and heading straight forward, he says the black object became clearer and larger as he approached. When he continued forward, the animal then on all fours rises on 2 feet towering above his tiny geo-tracker. It was approximately 7 to 8 feet tall, black and hairy, and looked like it had an ape face with its mouth open as he passed by. My brother said it was so big, so unnatural, it was almost traumatizing. The experience was an unforgettable shock to him. He says as he came side by side with the creature, he had to force himself to not look at it as he sped past. As I mentioned, he would not report this sighting and does not talk about it in front of his family. More interestingly is the fact this sighting occurred about 3 or 4 miles west of the infamous 1965 Monroe monster sighting. In 2009, there was an unconfirmed report that claims a motorist broken down, had a brief encounter with a large bipedal hairy hominid-like animal, somewhere along I-75, between LaSalle and the Ohio state line. It is just miles south of the September 2009 sighting, reportedly in the area of the northwest of I-75 and Nadeau Road.